thanks so much for tuning in to Positively Muskegon. I'm Britta Cleveland, and I'm here with this lovely lady, Linda Johnson. And thank you so much for welcoming us into your home today. You are a lifelong Muskegon native.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and now where did you go to school?
I went to Mona Shores.
Mona Shores, and your kids went to Mona Shores as well?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
My husband and I have 3 girls.
3 girls, grandchildren too.
Yes, we do. We have another one on the way, expected in January.
Oh, and the pupper's here. I've got a puppy down here. I don't know if you can see on camera. What's your puppy's name?
Brewster.
He's a lovey. He's my companion today here.
Yes.
All right, so you've got this beautiful family, and your husband here is from Muskegon as well?
Yes.
Okay. So Linda has a very interesting story to tell everyone. Now, you've gone through some trials and tribulations medically in recent years. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your story and how things came about?
Well, it was actually it was during the night. I couldn't sleep.
Okay.
And finally I woke Charlie up and I said, I can't breathe. I can't sleep. Something's wrong. And I said, you need to take me to the ER. So we went and they ran some tests and the ER doctor said, something's wrong with your heart. You need to go see a specialist. And they made an appointment with Dr. Bottima at West Shore Cardiology.
Okay.
For the following Monday morning. I believe it was even before the office opened. And working in the medical field, I knew that's not normal. So I was very concerned.
So you have worked in the medical field.
Yes.
What was your position in the medical field?
I was a radiology certified medical coder, started medical coding and billing.
Wow. Okay.
So I know a lot of the insurance aspect of
Right.
it, the billing part of it.
Right.
So the Monday morning, I had an appointment with Dr. Bottima, and my husband came in with me, of course, and we had a long talk with Dr. Bottima, and he said, well, I believe you have cardiomyopathy. A lot of people don't know what that means. It means that my heart muscle is very weak, so my heart was very large and very weak, and it wasn't able to pump the oxygenated blood through my body like is needed for your organs to function normally. But he did run a few more tests to verify that that was the issue, and it was tough. It was really tough going through that because I knew with cardiomyopathy, chances are I'd end up with a heart transplant. And
that's a very scary thing to face.
Exactly. I mean, my girls, at that point, they were all single. I had one granddaughter at that point, and I still felt very young, and that I still have a lot to live for.
She is still very young. You are still very young, honey. So yeah, you have a lot to live for.
Yes,
and it's a very scary thought to be faced with out of nowhere, basically. So when abouts did this take place? How many years ago did this come about that you...
This was back in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been through so much since then that it's hard to think back about everything.
Right,
but it's, and we've been blessed. We have, honestly. I went on living my normal life as long as I could. At one point, I got to the point where my cardiologist said, I'm sorry, you can no longer work. I would go into work for 4 hours rather than 8, and then I would have to come home and take a nap, get up, make dinner, and go back to bed. I was basically sleeping all the time. And then my heart got so enlarged that I needed to have an LVAD, which is a left ventricular assistant device. Okay. So it's a pump that they placed next to my heart, and it pumped the blood for my heart up into my aorta.
Okay.
And so it was supplying the blood, which is what normally your left side of your heart does.
Did it help with your energy level after that procedure took place? Did it help at all?
It did. I was not back to the 100% me, but I was able to continue to live, to move forward with my life. It wasn't easy because you have a electric line going into your heart to this pump, and I always had a battery pack on me.
Oh.
And during this time frame when I got my LVAD, the 1 year time frame around getting it, all 3 of my daughters were pregnant.
Oh my goodness.
And one had twins.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
During that 1 year period where I was in the hospital so much and getting an LVAD and fighting for my life, I got
all these beautiful babies.
4 grandchildren.
Yes. At one time.
Yes. Yes, it was wonderful. And it gave me so much to live for.
Oh, yes.
And I was on the transplant list for heart transplant. And the LVAD basically keeps you living, keeps your heart, well, it helps your heart move the blood because it doesn't have the strength to do it anymore.
And you were just waiting and waiting and waiting. Now, the process of waiting for some kind of an organ to be donated, do you have, would they call you immediately when they found one and you would just immediately have to be off to the hospital? Is that how that works?
Yes. I was told I had 3 hours to get to the hospital once I received the phone call.
Okay.
I waited approximately 2 years.
Okay.
And during that time, I met many people that were going through the same thing I was going through or had gone through it. And I call them my heart friends. There are people I met at cardiac rehab, at the doctor's office, at the LVAD support groups. And we were all waiting and just trying to live our lives to the fullest as we could.
Right.
And then August 2017, I received a phone call, and I honestly thought that Katie, she used to call me from Spectrum Heart and Lung Transplant Clinic, I thought she was joking around. I said, Katie, you can't joke about something like this.
Oh.
And she's like, no, Linda, I'm not joking. We have a heart for you.
Oh my.
Yeah, so she asked where my husband was, and I said, he's just getting home from work. He's in the driveway.
What were your emotions like at that point, at that moment? You didn't know what to think.
I was
probably.
in shock.
Yeah.
I was in shock because part of you never thinks it's going to happen. You're just waiting. You're kind of living in limbo. You don't want to plan things. And an LVAD causes you to have restrictions on what you can do as well. I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I know I'm going to be in a surgery that's going to take 8 to 10 hours. I'm going to be on life support. I'm going to be in a coma for, it varies, 3 days approximately. But deep in my heart, I knew it was going to be okay. I was going to make it. It was worth it. It was all going to be great.
So Charlie drove you.
Yes.
And they put you into this induced coma, and they put you under, and I'm sure your anxiety was all-time high, I would imagine. And
I was at peace with it.
Okay,
which
well,
is
that's
very
good.
Unusual. I think I expected to be very anxious, very nervous, but there was something there that just made me feel comfortable. I just looked at my
higher
husband.
power was looking over you,
yes.
honey.
I had angels.
You have angels. You still do.
Yeah.
So, so the procedure takes place, and everything went as planned.
Yes.
Obviously, I mean, you look how beautiful and wonderful and healthy she is. So you come out of this induced coma, and what's the first thing you remember when you?
I remember coming to, and I didn't know if I had had the surgery or not, because you can have what they call a dry run, where you get there, they get you ready, they get the heart, and they look at it, and it's not healthy. And so they have to say no.
Okay.
So my first thought was, did I really get a heart? Did I go through the surgery, or was this a dry run? That was my first thought. And I remember when the nurse came in the room, I asked him, I said, did I get a heart? And he says, yes. And I was like in shock. You know, I just couldn't believe it. I thought, wow. I was amazed, you know. And I remember Charlie being in the room, and my whole surgical team came in the room, and they were talking to us, and honestly, I had no memory of what they were saying, but I noticed I had a heartbeat. Because when you have an LVAD, you do not have a heartbeat. You do not have a pulse.
Oh my goodness.
And I just was like, Charlie, come here, you know, give me your hand. I have a heartbeat. You know?
Oh my goodness.
And all the doctors, they just stopped talking and let us have our moment.
Oh, I'm going to start to cry. This is, it's wonderful. What a wonderful blessing. So, okay, everything went well, and your heart is beating for the first time in a really long time. That's amazing unto itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then your family comes to see you, and everything's well, and the doctors are like, yay, you know.
Yeah.
So what happens from that point? Now, what is your life like? After the heart is in you and your heart is beating, what kind of precautions I would imagine you had to take, and what types of things do you live with now, with after post-operative?
Being that I have a heart of someone else in me, I had to take many medications. My immune system is weakened, so it doesn't attack my heart.
Okay.
But that also means I'm more susceptible to the cold or the flu or other things that you know are out there, everyday life. Which means when I go out in public, especially during the cold and flu season, I have to have a mask on. So you might see me at the gym or at the grocery store. A lot of people that see me that know me don't know it's me, you know, because I'll have this mask across here, and obviously you don't look the same, you know. And quite often I've said to friends, "Oh, hi, you know, so and so," and they're like looking at me like, "Who is this masked woman?"
Bad woman. No. So before we started the interview today, you were talking just a little bit about people do, you know, when you're out in public and you're shopping, you mentioned you were at Lowe's with your husband, and, you know, people do wonder, you know, oh, this woman must be very, very ill and she's going to give me some. No, it's to protect you because your immune system is a bit down from the surgery. So when we do see individuals out in public, it's usually to protect your own health. And we need to be aware of that when we see people out with masks on. There's a lot of bugs floating around.
Yeah, and it's not always that the person's trying to not give you something,
Right?
but that they can't get something. As an example, in October I got a cold, and I was in bed for 4 to 6 weeks. I had to go on an antibiotic. And that was just for the common cold. You know, and the flu, if you can't keep your medications down, that means a hospital stay. That means antibiotics and being on an IV and having all your medications orally, if possible. But you have to keep your medications down, or your body's going to start attacking the heart.
Okay.
Or the organ that you've received. And, you know, that's extremely important. You don't want rejection.
So we're going to wish nothing but good health for you, for always, but I mean especially during this cold and flu season that we're entering into. And like you were saying, it's not always, you know, just the germs that we touch or the people we come in contact. There's all kinds of airborne stuff anywhere, at any place and time.
Exactly.
But obviously you're healthy and you're beautiful and you look great. Looking at you, I would never, when I said this earlier to you, I would never guess in a million years that you've been through what you've been through. And it's amazing. What an amazing gift, modern technology, and the higher power, you know, but what an amazing gift from another human being. The donation, to put that, I want you to explain a little bit about how would one go about saying, yeah, you know, if something were to happen to me, heaven forbid, but if something were to happen to me, I would be willing to donate my organs. How does that go about?
Well, there are a few ways to do it.
Okay.
I just went through the process of taking a test with Gift of Life, and I've become a volunteer for them.
You're giving
So-
back. That's awesome.
Yes.
Look at you.
I love to spread the word because there are many misconceptions about whether you can donate or not. You know, the first thing is if you're willing to just sign up. You can do it at the Secretary of State's office.
Okay.
When you get your driver's license or renew your driver's license.
Okay.
You can also do it online at Secretary of State. You can also go to Gift of Life online, and they have information about it. You can do it with a form that they have that you can print out. There's many ways, and there's lots of information out there. I've had people ask me questions like, well, I have had cancer, or I maybe something in their medical history that I'm thinking, I don't think I could. It's okay. Sign up, because maybe they can't use certain organs, but one person can save 8 lives.
Oh, yes.
And so yeah, I'm signed up to be an organ donor. They can't use my heart. It can't go through another transplant. But other organs that I have could save lives or impact lives.
By the way, everything that Linda is telling us right now on the attached blog to this video, I will have all of this written out for everybody, so you can just go and click on these different sites. And I and you, we both encourage everyone to check out these sites and read up more about this, because I'm sure, as you have had many, many questions, and maybe you have many, many questions, we're going to give you these addresses so you can check this out for yourself. But Linda, okay, so you are volunteering now. You're actually volunteering and encouraging people to check out more information on this.
Yes. If my organ donor had not signed up to be an organ donor, when the unfortunate circumstance happened to her, by the way, she was 34 years old, female. That is all I know about her. But that happened, and at that point you can't say, okay, I want to give my organs, I want to donate, I want to help others. You have to sign up before that point.
Right.
You don't know that's going to happen.
Right.
You know, we know, none of us know our future. But thank God she did, because she signed up, and when it happened, I got the phone call. I was the lucky one that matched her blood type and her body size, and I'm fortunate to say I got her heart.
You know, thinking about it, hey baby, in thinking about it, like right now, me, if I were to go down to the Secretary of State and say, you know, which I am planning on, and looking up more information so I can be on the donor list. You know, we don't like to think about our demise. Nobody does. Right. Nobody does. It's a terrifying thing to think about, but these things do happen. And you know, I would think, we don't know who this lovely individual, this 34-year-old woman is, but I have to think, in my own mind, I have to think that her family, knowing that her heart beats on and has saved such a lovely person, that her heart still beats on and has saved another life. I mean, she's a hero.
Yes.
This person is a hero and saved your beautiful life. And yes, we're sad, and we are. Our heart breaks for her family and her loved ones.
Definitely.
But she gave the gift of life, and maybe not only to you, as you mentioned, one person can save 8 individuals.
Yes. I mean, her kidneys could have went to people.
Her eyes.
Yes, there's just so much that can help people. And I hope someday to meet her family. I would love to have them to be able to hear her heartbeat if they choose to. I know that there's a process I have to go through. Gift of Life and organ donation controls all that, and I'm glad they do. That's important.
Right.
They need time, and when it's the right time, if they're willing, I'd love to meet them too.
I'm sure they'd love to meet you too, and what a beautiful, precious life that their loved one saved. Yes. And you're Linda Johnson. I'm telling you, I give it up to you, girl. You are a volunteer. You're giving back, and you're educating people on what it means to be an organ donor and the importance of it. And also, you've educated me and hopefully our viewers here today. When we see people out in public with the masks on, it's to protect their health. And a lot of times there's a bigger, deeper story behind, other than someone just being a germaphobe. It's not always the case. I mean, there are people that are dealing with some very serious medical situations, and just the common airborne bugs are a big deal.
Exactly.
So, Linda Johnson, again, thank you for taking time with us today, and thank you for giving us all this information on such an important thing. And we're so glad that you're here to tell your story, and hopefully it will encourage someone else out there to save other lives. Or maybe you yourself are going through possibly needing an organ transplant. Linda Johnson is living, breathing proof that there is a happy ending.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yes.
So, Linda Johnson, thank you so much again for joining us today. And again, listed below, we've got all the information, so you can check out the information in your own time. But thanks again for joining us on Positively Muskegon.